Well, nothing like an official visit weekend to double the old commitment list. Pitt didn't exactly double the commitment list, but they added 5 new commitments from the official visit weekend that went on top of the 6 that they already had in the recruiting class of 2025. So from 6 to 11 isn't exactly doubling, but it's close enough, and it sounds cooler to say they doubled the commitment list. They got pretty close to it. I mean, 5 commitments out of 9 guys who visit, or 10 guys who visited who were uncommitted. So, 50% hit rate on the official visit weekend. It's June. It's official visits. This is what we've come to expect, and the Pitt coaches delivered with 5 new commitments. As of Sunday night, last night for you, if you're watching this on Monday, as of last night, 2 of those 5 had made their commitments public. So we're going to talk about those 2 guys and kind of hold off on the other 3 probably until tomorrow, unless in the midst of this recording, we see news or more announcements of guys making their commitments public. We'll talk about it then, but we got 2 to talk about. We got 2 to discuss: what it means for the official visits, or what it means for the recruiting class, who Pitt landed, how they fit in with what the Panthers are trying to do. It's some other interesting factoids and news and notes that came out of the official visit weekend. So it's all recruiting, it's all commitments, it's all official visits right here on the Monday edition of the Morning Pitt on youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com. Yeah, the official visit weekend went about as expected, I would say. We talked about it on Thursday, talked about it on Friday, talked about it on Wednesday, talked about it all week as we previewed the official visits. The visits went Thursday to Saturday, and we said, look, on Saturday there's going to be a bunch of commitments, and sure enough, there were a bunch of commitments. I think 5 before noon. It might have been 4 before noon and 1 more in the early afternoon. Either way, 5 new commitments came in for Pitt out of the official visit weekend. Remember, Pitt brought in 14 visitors. We thought it was 13, but then at some point on Saturday, I think it was, we confirmed news of a 14th official visitor. So 14 recruits came and visited Pitt over the weekend, Thursday to Saturday. 4 of those 14 were already committed to the Panthers, leaving 10 guys, 10 targets, 10 uncommitted targets. And by the end of the weekend, by the end of the visit, 5 out of those 10 were committed. So 50%, that's a pretty good hit rate on an official visit weekend. The weekend, it's not, or the recruitment of those other 5 guys is not done. I think maybe a few of them might have slid down the board in terms of priorities, so maybe they can't all commit anyway. But I think there's still 1 or 2 who are in that group of uncommitted prospects who visited. The Pitt coaches would very much like to add, and so those battles will continue. So I guess what I'm saying is the story isn't fully told on this official visit weekend, but so far I think the returns have been pretty good with the 5 guys that they landed, and then the 2 that have made it official, and then where they stand with the other 5 going forward. So like I said, we're going to talk about the 2 guys who have announced their commitments publicly as of this recording last night at like 9 o'clock or whatever time it was. We're going to talk about those 2 guys, knowing and understanding full well that 3 other guys have committed but have not made their announcements yet. Now, if you're on Panther-Lair.com, if you're on the message boards at Panther-Lair.com, you're pretty clued into who those other 3 guys probably are. You probably have a pretty good sense of it. We put it on our premium message board, the Between Fifth and Forbes message board. I don't really think it's made it out to Twitter or things like that. So it is a little bit of premium recruiting info there that we have on Panther-Lair.com. And I think that's sort of the value of the subscription. You might watch these podcasts, these videos a lot, or listen to the podcast and be like, why is this guy always talking about the website? What's the point of subscribing to a website? Well, it's times like these. There's a lot of good info on the boards and has been throughout the official visit weekend. Certainly on Saturday, we had a lot of info rolling in. And so, that's when you want to be on the message boards. That's when you want to be a part of it. And today's the last day for you to take advantage of our special free trial. You sign up right now, today. Today's the last day. You sign up now with the promo code PITTVISITS, PITTVISITS. All one word, no spaces. You sign up with that promo code, you're going to get a free trial of Panther-Lair.com that'll actually last through the start of training camp. So you get all summer of the best Pitt coverage at Panther-Lair.com. I mean, you can't beat that, right? A free trial that runs through the whole summer, that's a great deal. And it's not the kind of deal we do very often. We haven't run one of these promos in a while, and today's the last day to take advantage of it. So you can sign up now. You can get all the recruiting info from this past weekend. Get all the recruiting info for next weekend's official visits, plus the prospect camp. We were down there yesterday. Pitt had another prospect camp. I don't know if there were any other Oh no, the Whippeal Insider was there. So shout out to the Whippeal Insider. He was at the prospect camps. But in terms of coverage of the camps, this is this is where you get it. We have a lot of info. We have a lot of coverage. We have a lot of recruiting whatnot on the message boards at Panther-Lair.com. So remember, sign up with the promo code Pitt Visits, PITTVISITS. You can get all of the Pitt info that you need. And don't forget, before we dive into the commits, like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com. So, like I said, 10 uncommitted visitors, 5 of them committed, 2 have announced so far. The 2 who have announced are a pair of Florida guys, actually. A pair of guys coming in from Florida. Tight end Max Hunt. He attends Plant High School in Tampa. And then wide receiver Jairian Turner attends South Sumter High School in Wildwood, Florida. A pair of offensive commitments, a pair of skill players, I guess you want to call. I don't know if you want to call Max Hunt a skill player as a tight end, but he's 6'5", 210 pounds. He's more of like a big receiver than he is a small offensive tackle. If we want to be overly reductive when it comes to tight ends and break them into either big receiver or small offensive tackle, he fits more into the former category than the latter. I think there's a lot of space in between those two categories, but nevertheless, that's sort of the player that Max Hunt is. He is a pass-catching tight end. He was the first commitment of the day on Saturday, the first to make his commitment, and the first to announce his commitment. Max Hunt from Tampa committed to Pitt over, bring up his offer sheet here. He had power conference offers from Georgia Tech, Indiana, and West Virginia. Also had offers from Arkansas State, Bowling Green, Buffalo, East Carolina, JMU, Memphis, Middle Tennessee, Toledo, Western Kentucky. Bunch of programs. I think, how many offers is that? Probably like a dozen, something like that. And he committed to Pitt during his official visit. And he visited in the spring. He kind of knew that he was leaning in that direction already. I think he came into the official visit kind of feeling like he probably was going to commit. And the visit really sort of locked it up. Max Hunt, when you look at his stat line for last season, 36 catches, 424 yards, 6 touchdowns. And his highlight film is sort of a perfect tight end highlight film if you're looking for a pass-catching tight end. Because it sort of touches just the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clips. Touch on everything you could possibly want a pass-catching tight end to do. So the first one, he catches an 8-yard pass and turns it into a 34-yard touchdown with about 26 yards after the catch. Now, there aren't many tight ends in the country who are getting 26 yards after the catch, but Max Hunt does it pretty comfortably and pretty effectively, I guess would be the best word. And then on the next play on his highlight film, when you watch it, he runs like a post route, beats a defender. I have to rewind and see if it was a safety or a linebacker, but beats a defender on a post route for a 40-yard touchdown. Just blows past him. I mean, the quarterback drops back. It's a highlight film, so they're keeping they're keeping the camera on the quarterback. He drops back. You see him unload, and then oh, there's Max Hunt. He's 3 yards away from the DB or the linebacker, whoever was trying to cover him there for the touchdown. Next clip number 3. So you've got the yak play, right? The yards after the catch play. You've got the post route where he beats a defender down the field. And then on his third clip, he goes down the sideline and, what do the kids call it? He mosses the defender. And here again, I don't know if it was a corner or a safety, whoever was trying to cover him, but Max Hunt was behind him, jumps up, grabs the ball out from over top of him for a nice catch on the sideline. Clip number 4, and again, this is it touches all the bases here, because on clip number 4, it's not a touchdown or a sideline catch or a post route or anything like that, but he goes over the middle, catches the ball, and takes a shot. He's in traffic. He's got 2 or 3 guys around him. He knows he's going to take a shot. He catches the ball, takes the shot, and holds on to it for, I don't even know if it was a first down, but it kind of doesn't matter. It shows just sort of a fearlessness and a toughness. And then the final, or the 5th clip, I shouldn't say the final clip, it's like a 6-minute highlight video. But the 5th clip, he runs a corner out in the end zone. He's lined up on a smaller DB. You can see it before the ball is even snapped. He's lined up on a corner who's quite a bit smaller than him. Max Hunt is 6'5". This kid's probably 5'10". He looks like he's 5'7", because Max is so tall. This kid's quite a bit smaller. Hunt runs a corner route against him. and gets behind him. Ball is thrown. Perfect, easy catch. It's almost sort of a fade, kind of. But, again, it shows that route running. It shows that fade-ish ability, going to the corner, getting, using his height as an advantage against a smaller DB, if he can get those matchups. And so you really sort of saw, in those 5 clips, you see Max Hunt, the tight end prospect, do kind of everything. Everything that you would really want a tight end to do if you're trying to recruit a pass-catching tight end. Now, I know the inevitable reaction is, well, is Pitt actually going to throw to the tight end? And here's the other thing that got sort of interesting with Max Hunt. When I talked to Max Hunt after he committed on Saturday, I want to read a quote here. I asked him about, talking to Jacob Bernowski, the tight ends coach, and talking to Cade Bell, the offensive coordinator, about how they're going to use the tight end, what they want to do with the tight end, and why they feel like Max would be a good fit in Pitt's offense. And he says, quote, they're going to be using the tight end as more of a 4th receiver, so they want an athletic guy who can stretch the field and go down and make plays. They showed me what they're doing with Gavin, how they're using him in spring practice, and I could see how they want to use that spot. I think that's really, really interesting. All right. Interesting that they want an athletic guy. They want to use it as more of a 4th receiver. But going so far as to showing practice cut-ups from the spring of what they're doing with Gavin Bartholomew, I thought it was really, really interesting. Somebody on the message board noticed it as well. As soon as he said that, when I was doing the interview, my ears perked up. I said, that's interesting. And somebody picked up on it on the message board too, that not only is Cade Bell hoping to be able to use the tight end as a weapon in the passing game, but that they were emphasizing that with Gavin Bartholomew in the spring. Look, there's no greater coaching, well, there's probably greater coaching malpractice, but there are few instances of greater coaching malpractice than Gavin Bartholomew's usage over the last 2 seasons. If there's one thing they should do this year, it's get him more involved. Maybe they'll win more games, maybe they won't. I don't know. But at least for his final year of eligibility, can you just use Gavin Bartholomew as a weapon in the offense? El Barto deserves it. And he will probably make your offense better. It will probably help you win games. And so it's interesting that when they're trying to sell a recruit on his role in this offense, look, if you had come in, say Mark Whipple gets hired, right? Mark Whipple comes in the year after Sean Watson, okay? And I don't know if Whipple did this. He probably did. But Whipple, I wouldn't be surprised if when he was recruiting receivers and tight ends was showing them film of UMass. Well, here's how we use Andy Isabella. Here's how we use Adam Brenneman. Here's how we, Tajay Sharp or whoever it was. Here's how we got the ball to these guys. This is what we're going to do. And here's how we're going to do it. You know what I mean? Like Jordan Addison. Here's what we're going to do. Now, at that point, Whipple had already been there for years, so they had filmed from 2019. Actually, no, they would have gotten Addison's commitment before the 2019 season. It would have been the summer of 2019 that he committed. So he was probably showing Jordan Addison video of plays at UMass, Andy Isabella, how they got the ball to the receiver, how they force-fed it to the receiver. And that's what new coordinators will often do when they don't really have the current team to draw on, because Cade Bell isn't going to really show much in the way of offensive film from Pitt from 2023. So it's interesting that he's recruiting a tight end by showing him film from this spring, where a guy who has been criminally underused seemingly got a lot of work and was emphasized as a part of the offense. And I think that's really interesting. And so Max Hunt, really intriguing prospect as a guy, for what he can bring to the passing game. But here's one of those instances where the recruiting process and recruiting interviews and recruiting observations and experiences are telling us a little bit about the team and maybe giving us a little bit of insight into what the coaches are thinking about the team and what the coaches are hoping to do with the team. So I thought that was very interesting as well. Now, Jairian Turner, the other commitment, he announced his commitment yesterday, actually, is when he announced his commitment. Turner committed to Pitt over offers from Nebraska, Wake Forest, West Virginia, in addition to some group of 5 schools, Buffalo, Eastern Michigan, FAU, USF, Texas State, which is interesting for a few reasons, Western Kentucky. Turner's a 5'10", 170-pound wide receiver at South Sumter High School in Wildwood, Florida, or Bushnell, Florida, somewhere around there. Not a big guy. Not big. And you watch the film, and he doesn't look big. And I know it's always a running joke about small receivers and that kind of thing, that this coaching staff just wants the small receivers, and, they're not going to recruit anybody who's bigger than 6 foot and things like that. And those are good jokes. I'm not going to say those aren't good jokes. Those are great jokes. They don't get old in the least, I swear. But I'll tell you what. There's sort of a running cliche that if you take the average 3-star in Florida and you put him into a state like PA or New York or anywhere in New England, really, some of the Midwest states, you put him in Indiana or Illinois or Minnesota, and there's a chance that average 3-star in Florida is a 4-star prospect in one of those other states. And there's a lot of reasons that go into that, and it's, the level of competition. I mean, there's just so many really fast wide receivers in Florida that you can't make them all 4-stars. But if you put them in a different area where maybe you put them in a different state or a different commonwealth where maybe the level of competition, I don't want to say the level of competition is not as good, but the level of the talent level around them is not as equal, he would stand out more and look like might be a 4-star prospect. I think, like, watching Jairian Turner's highlight film, and I watched his whole huddle before recording this, just to kind of refresh my memory. I mean, I think he would be very close to a 4-star prospect if he was in Pennsylvania or somewhere in New England. Right now, he's 5.5 on the Rivals rating scale. That's the lowest 3-star designation. 5.5, 5.6, and 5.7 are the 3-star designations. 5.8 is when you move into a 4-star ranking. I think Turner would be at worst a 5.7 3-star in Pennsylvania or New York or Rhode Island or Massachusetts or someplace like that. Jairian Turner, when you watch his highlight film, and the thing that cracks me up is this is a wide receiver prospect. This is a guy who's he's going to play offense. And the first 4 clips on his highlight film are defensive snaps. And when it started, I was like, why is he showing defense? Oh, I know why. Because the first play on his film is a 54-yard scoop and score where he strips the ball from a receiver, picks it up, and runs 54 yards for a touchdown. And the second play on his film is a 52-yard pick 6. And the third play on his film is an 82-yard pick 6. And the fourth play on his film is an interception where he got tackled. He didn't take it all the way back. He didn't score a touchdown that time. But playmaking ability. Playmaking to strip the ball on the first one. Playmaking to grab the interceptions on the other 3. And playmaking to get those long returns, 54, 52, and 82. And you could watch those plays, and you'd be like, why am I watching defensive snaps for an offensive guy? Once he's got the ball in his hands, you can see why you're watching defensive snaps for an offensive guy, because he makes plays. The speed, he takes off. And once he's got some daylight, he cannot be caught. He doesn't get run down from behind. He might get tackled. He might not break every tackle. He breaks quite a few. He might not break every tackle, but when he's got daylight, and if you don't have the right angle, he's gone. So once they start getting into the offensive snaps, there's a 62-yard touchdown on a direct snap, a 42-yard run for a touchdown, a 29-yard run for a touchdown, a 46-yard run for a touchdown. He was 25 yards for a touchdown on a screen pass, 9 yards for a touchdown on a screen pass, 33, 25, 30, 26, 26. He scored 15 touchdowns on his highlight film. Maybe he had more that he didn't put on his highlight tape, but why wouldn't you put all the touchdowns on there? There are 15 touchdowns on his highlight tape. And 13 of them are double-digit yardage. And out of those 13, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that are less than 30 yards. He goes. He is a home run hitter and a big play machine. And he might not be big, but I think Cade Bell, and I think Cade Bell has said this, and I think his dad embraced this as well. And it's not the worst theory, but I think Cade Bell believes, like, give me that guy that if I get the ball to him, he's going to go. And he's going to make plays, and he's going to hit home runs. That if I can get him the ball in a little bit of space, if I can get him the ball, if through play design, I can get him the ball with some daylight, we're going to get home runs out of it. And so he's got a direct snap for 62 yards. He's got 2 screen passes where he scores a 25-yard touchdown and a 9-yard touchdown. He goes 33 yards on a sweep, 30 yards on a sweep, 20 yards on a direct snap, 6 yards for a touchdown on a direct snap. These are all touchdown plays too. So like when I'm talking about he goes 30 yards on a sweep or 20 yards on a direct snap, he would have gone further. If they were further up the field, if they were at the 50, he's so gone by that point. The 20-yard direct snap play or the 30-yard sweep or the 33-yard sweep, it's not like somebody was going to catch him if he had to go 5 more yards. He was gone for the final 10, 15 yards on all of those plays. So give him the ball with a little bit of daylight and he could be gone. And I think that's what appeals to Cade Bell. And Turner actually wasn't just a Cade Bell target. He got an offer from Pitt, I think, last spring. So he was getting targeted by the last Pitt coaching staff. This staff with Cade Bell and J.J. Laster picked it up and ran with it, and they sold him on it on this official visit. And Pitt landed Turner, and I think he's a pretty good land. When you look at the commitment list now, they've got 2 wide receivers in Bryce Yates and Jairian Turner. Tony Kinsler, sort of a slot back, running back. We'll see exactly where he fits in. But starting to fill in those offensive skill positions. 3 guys between Yates, Turner, and Kinsler, plus Max Hunt and Mason Heinschel, the quarterback. I mean, you're talking about 5 out of the 8 commitments so far are on offense. Actually, 6 out of the 8 because Shep Turk is an offensive lineman. But 5 out of the 8 are offensive, like skill guys who are going to have the ball in their hands. So you can see a little bit of an emphasis there. Not that they're de-emphasizing defense, and I'm sure those numbers will even out, if not end up favoring the defense. But clearly trying to get the offensive guys. And they've gotten a bunch so far. I think as more of these commitments get announced, might see 1 or 2 more offensive guys join the mix. And obviously more will join over the next couple weeks of official visits. I mean, they'll keep bringing in offensive guys, and they'll keep landing them. But I really like Turner. I mean, I think you watch his film and you can see there's a spot on every one of those plays where that's it. It's over. He's gone and nobody's going to catch him. There'll be those plays where there's one guy left to get him and that guy takes the wrong angle. Sorry, Chief. That's a touchdown. He's a touchdown machine. 15 touchdowns, at least on his highlight film. Hopefully he didn't leave any off because it's pretty impressive. It's good stuff. So those are two commitments. I think we'll probably have the other 3 to talk about tomorrow, at least a couple of them. So going to be plenty of recruiting discussions and conversations to have this week. But that's what we do in June, right? Official visits, commitments, June recruiting talk. It's always fun. This is a good time. I hope you've been enjoying it. I think it gets the juices flowing a little bit when you start getting all this recruiting activity. So it was a fun weekend, and I think that's going to carry through this week and into this coming weekend's official visits when they'll have more kids on campus. So should be a good time. But yeah, I think that's about does it for today. Listen, don't forget to like and subscribe. And today, Monday the 10th, is the final day for our free trial through the start of training camp promo. Sign up with promo code PITTVISITS, PITTVISITS. Pitt Visits, one word. Get the free trial now so you're locked in for next week's official visits and the week after that's official visits and everything we have all the way through the summer up until training camp in August. So sign up now and be a part of it at Panther-Lair.com, promo code PITTVISITS. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe before you go. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope you have a great Monday. I hope you had a great weekend. And I hope this week gets off to a great start for you. But thanks again. We appreciate it. Like and subscribe. And we will catch up with you tomorrow morning for the Morning Pit right here on youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com.